Welcome, Strategy About Gamers, to another GBHL YouTube channel video. You're here with your host, GBHL James.
And GBHL Jamie. And it's another Speak Friend and Question FAQ.
This is an opportunity for us to pull out those frequently asked questions that you guys put in our Speak Friend and Question every single week. And we think we've answered that before. But of course, you guys don't always know that because you might not have seen them all and you might be new to this channel. So what is this week's frequently asked question?
It's how did we get into the hobby?
Ooh, how did we get into the hobby? Well, let's start off with you, Jamie, because your history goes back a lot further than mine.
Yeah. So I got into the hobby. I was in the traffic centre and walking to work. And I used to walk past the Games Workshop, and I used to pop in and look at the models and think this is really cool. But I probably don't have the money to spend on this at the time. And I don't know anyone who plays the game, so I'm not going to pick it up. And then one day, just by happen chance, I was working on a Wednesday and I walked past the Games Workshop. I noticed a bunch of guys from college in there that I knew pretty well. I was like, oh my god, I now know people who are in this hobby. And I'm not going to feel like a complete nerd doing it on my own anymore. Yeah. So I walked in and I said hi, and they were all very nervous that someone had caught them in there. And I was like, this is really cool. Would anyone be able to show me like a game of this? And like, oh yeah, we can give you an intro game. I was like, alright, cool. And we played Balin's Tomb, and I won as I played as the Fellowship. And I thought, I'm great at this game. And later on I understood that I had the amazing heroes versus goblins, and I was probably always going to win that, besides very bad dice. But then it prompted me to get some dwarves, and I got a complete force, bought some paints. I bought silver, black and green and desert yellow. I still have some of those colours.
But yeah, how often do you use them?
Yeah. And I painted the dwarf rangers terribly. I had no grey or white or anything, so I gave them shiny metal beards. I thought, that's grey, isn't it? And then threw the models away later on, and that's what got me into the hobby, just by happen chance walking past the Games Workshop and seeing my friends in there.
Was that your first war game?
Yep, it was, Lord of the Rings.
Fantastic. But that encouraged you to get involved in some other war games as well?
Yes, I got 40k and I got fantasy. Some of my friends dropped out of Lord of the Rings for a while, and well, we played it to death basically. So we picked up 40k, played that a lot. Then I moved in with my friends for a couple of years, well, it was 2 years during university, and we played a lot of fantasy during that time because we had a spare room that was the games room, and like literally every night for 2 years we played games in there.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And then came back into Lord of the Rings, and that was when the Great British Hobbit League started up again.
Well, it was literally as recent as that you started getting back into it, so a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Wow, very interesting.
During my time at uni, there wasn't a great many tournaments, and it was literally just the grand tournaments that were around.
Yeah. But you went to the grand tournaments?
Yeah, I still went to them.
Yeah, because you've been to every grand tournament for...
I don't know how long.
For a long, long time. A lot longer than I've been in a hobby. Nice segue there. See what happened there? Because
you're stealing the Plantis segues.
Yes, that's right. That's right. They're very influential guys. Yeah. So I'm actually completely new to wargaming. I think when I was a bit younger, I think my mum was going into like CNA or something. Like, can you remember that shop? No. CNA? No. It was a shop that was in a like shopping mall-y kind of thing, and I used to hate going in there. And it was in Southport, and I just went into the Games Workshop in there and was playing with these things called Gretchins.
I remember
versus Space Marines and stuff. I was only quite little. I think I must have been about 8, and I remember asking like my mum for these Gretchins for Christmas. She had no idea what they were, and she actually bought me some Space Marines and stuff. And
she got it completely wrong.
Well, she obviously went in there and went like, you know, listen, I've got a young lad. He's been in. He's interested in getting into it. What do you recommend? And of course, they recommend people do Space Marines, don't they? So I did sort of paint or try to paint these things when I was young. Yeah. But didn't do a great job. Never played anybody. I encouraged them. I'd go into Tunbridge Wells Games Workshop from time to time and look at stuff because I like the idea of doing it. I just don't know what to play against or play with. So kind of knocked all that on the head. Literally just a couple of years of testing the water really, and then it was when I was. So this is kind of the long entry in.
Yeah.
It was when I was about 15, 16, I watched a show called Time Commanders.
Yeah, I remember Time Commanders.
Which was awesome. And I used to watch that show thinking, I would be awesome at this. And it was a show where...
it was based off the Rome Total War engine, wasn't it?
That's right. And that was the thing I was thinking, I wish I could play this computer game. Because I kept watching it thinking, if I was on this show, which is you basically took over being a general...
Why have you put your best units out in front? stuff. Why are they in the open? Why aren't they in the trees there, ready to ambush?
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
There was all kinds of things, and I was thinking, you know, I've got to get this game. So I went onto the Rome Total War forum. It was my first experience ever of a forum, and on that forum there was loads of historical discussions, such as, you know, who would win the Romans versus the Greek, you know, Romans versus the Spartans and stuff like that, of phalanx versus the Roman legion, and all kind of one-dimensional things. And from that, I met a group of people who were actually looking to set up their own war game, as it were, like a computer-based war game, and they set up a forum, and one of the games that they ended up doing was Lord of the Rings, and I got involved in that. And it's basically like a PHP game. It's got turn counters, you move little pieces. When the pieces came together, you know, you would fight a battle, you'd submit your battle plan to the administrator, who would then play that battle out with whatever mechanics they had, and then give the result of casualties and everything. And that was really kind of like my war game. And it was only when I opened up Biotic Fit, like, obviously I left that alone years and years ago. I needed to find something which
filled the void,
just stopped me from thinking about my business all the time. Because all you think about when you open a business is your business. And I just remembered that during my GCSEs and all that kind of time, the thing that made me disappear completely was playing this game. So I went back onto the forum and offered to revive their Lord of the Rings system, and was looking for players. Ended up on the One Ring. Saw this massive amount of enthusiasm for this game, and ended up buying myself some Khazad off eBay. Like, just because I saw something, I was like, what's the best infantry? And people were like, oh yeah, Khazad. Khazad are the best infantry.
Already going for the best.
Oh yeah.
Power gamer through and through.
And then sold them and not going
ranges.
Well, then it was the people who were saying things like, you know, you should pick what you like the most, and I went for a grey company, and that's how I got into it.
Still pretty power gamer, great company.
Maybe at the time, yeah, because it was just before the Hobbit rules.
Yeah.
So they would still have volley and all that kind of stuff, and no penalty to shooting and everything.
Not need a hero to lead them. Just having range to the north where it's enough back then.
Oh no, it wasn't that far back.
Was it not?
No.
Oh, so it's still warbands there.
Yeah, it was still warbands. So literally just a couple of years ago, and you know, since then, you know, done this channel, gone to a ton of tournaments, fourth in the league.
Yeah.
So I like to keep on saying out loud
as
many times as possible. Not far behind.
Yeah.
If you look at the points, it wouldn't take too much.
Yeah, you go win a tournament.
Yeah, if I won a tournament, it'd throw me in there. Yeah. But anyway, so that's how we both got into the hobby. That's a very frequently asked question. So we hope that helps you guys who didn't know and were thinking of asking it on a Speak Friendly question. So guys, make sure as always that you comment, like, share and subscribe.
Support your hobby and follow us on Twitter.
And happy strategy battle gaming.